Thanks for tuning into the Urban Scope podcast. I'm back with another one. This topic I'm very excited about for the upcoming 24-25 season for NCAA women's basketball. So this episode, I'll be doing a little preview, just kind of talking about what I'm excited about and kind of giving my picks for the winners of the NCAA tournament for the women's team. The women's basketball tournament will be better than the men's again for probably the third or fourth year, just for the simple fact, just the talent pool for the men has gone down a lot. I think due to the G League and due to people playing overseas and people taking other avenues instead of the traditional route. Most of the players now coming out of foreign born, they're playing for foreign teams. So the NCAA tournament has kind of lost its luster when it comes to the men tournament. But nevertheless, the women's tournament has been very exciting, very interesting, very competitive. Even the games that are considered blowouts are just fun to watch just because of the fundamentals that they put out there. It's not a lot of crying about foul calls. It's just pure basketball. So you gotta love that type of stuff. Being able to watch a game without people complaining about fouls, even though they clearly fouled them. But I digress on that. But I'll talk about the teams and the players that I'm excited to and looking forward to seeing this season. There's some storylines that'll be very interesting this year due to the loss of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese that left and went to the league. Even like a Cameron Brink that left. It's going to be very interesting because you have younger talent and you have newer dynamics that's out to play. So the first interesting dynamic that I want to see this year, will Coach Staley and the South Carolina Gamecocks repeat for their third straight championship? So there's a lot of variables that go into play into that. So you got to think about the mental fatigue. You have to think about what they lost, what they had coming in, things like that. But my biggest component, I think, about their ability to repeat is going to probably be the loss of Camila Cardoso. She's going to be a huge loss in the paint, but they have a 6'5" Sakima Walker, who is set to replace Cardoso, I believe. She plays center as well. So I think they'll lose a little bit at the center position, but the talent, their depth is just amazing that they're able to return all this talent and even have all this talent without getting transfers and all that. So you have returning Raven Johnson, who was a star in the NCAA championship when they played Iowa. She was getting turnovers against Caitlin Clark. She was playing good defense. I think she needs to work on her scoring now, especially since Cardoso is not there. She's going to have to pick up a little bit on the scoring, I believe. But they do have Pow that's coming back. She is an excellent perimeter shooter. She basically couldn't miss in the NCAA tournament. So I'm excited to see Pow come back this year and, being able to pick it up a little bit. They have Ashlyn Watkins, who will help with that rebounding that they might miss from Cardoso. And I think Ashlyn Watkins is a very underrated rebounder. She usually came off the bench, but I think she'll be an excellent addition to that team. Well, not addition, but a replacement to help with the rebounding that they'll lose from Cardoso. Malaysia Fulwiley, she's a good mid-range shooter. She can do a little rebounding as well. I think she'll be, is a good fundamental piece, an integral piece for them as well. And Tesha Johnson, she's a mid-range shooter that they have as well. So they have a lot of scoring, but I just want to see how their defense looks. And I'll be looking out through the season and trying to see what their defense looks like. I think Coach Staley, her team kind of takes on her personality and her toughness. Like I said, they were down a lot by when they played Iowa in the championship, but they was able to overcome it and they didn't panic. They just stayed the course and they eventually won that game by a good margin. So, and Coach Staley was emotional at that game. She knew it was a tough route just to be able to go back to back. So I think she'd be looking forward even more this year to regaining that championship and showing that she can defend the title. She has more to prove, and I think she's even hungrier this year. So that's going to be interesting to see. Like I said, they had a lot of depth, and Coach Staley's in her 16th season. She has an 80% win ratio since she's been at South Carolina since 2008. She has no conference losses in the last 2 years. So, I mean, that's ridiculous, and she only has 3 conference losses in the last 4 seasons. So, in conference play, she's pretty much king that way, but that'll get you a good tournament, seeding, so it'll be interesting to see how they do this year and how they adjust to the new change. They didn't really lose much, and they pretty much bring their whole team back. So, like I said, the only thing that can stop South Carolina is South Carolina due to mental fatigue or, knock on wood, injuries. So not only is I'm excited about the South Carolina Gamecocks, I'm excited about um, USC's sophomore. She was rookie last year, but their sophomore Juju Watkins. She can score buckets, put up buckets. I just want to see the team that she has around her, and will she avoid a sophomore slump? I think she'll avoid that sophomore slump because the offense is catered around to her game. She'll get the appropriate amount of shots, so she's going to get her points, and she's not, she's 6 foot, so she's very good size too. She can pass real well and she can rebound it. So she's a triple threat. So she'll find a way to be productive regardless of the situation or how the defense is playing her. So I just want to see how her team looks around her and how better she can make the team around her and how she adjusts to avoid that sophomore slump. LSU with Flo J, I want to see how she adjusts without Angel Reese this year. Angel Reese did a lot for that team. She was not a big scorer, but as far as rebounding, like she's doing for the Chicago Sky right now in the WNBA, she's a very good rebounder, an underrated rebounder as well. So I want to see how she adjusts. Flo J adjusts to being without Angel Reese on the court. She has Anissa Morrow, who's a very good scorer too. She'll have to pick it up. But as far as I think their defense will be excellent. Like I said, Kel Mulkey is kind of like of that Don Staley type. Takes on a very tough team, very tough assignments. She pushes her team to try to get everything out of her team that she can. So I don't expect them um, to fall back at all. Like I said, they'll lose some of that rebounding, but I think they'll figure it out. Like I said, my predictions for oh yeah, and also LSU lost Haley Van Lith, so I think she provided scoring as well. She was a pretty good defender, but I think, like I said, that team is pretty tough. I think they'll figure it out. They'll make the NCAA tournament no problem. It's just about how far they can make it in a tournament and if they get the right matchups. So, um, but I'm predicting South Carolina to repeat. I think South Carolina has a good chance to repeat. Um, I, I kind of want to say that South Carolina might end up playing UConn with Paige Brukers. I think that's how you say it. Sorry if I'm butchering the name. But Paige she's projected to be the number 1 pick this year in the WNBA draft. And I think that she'll take her team very far. She's been able to recover from that injury that was devastating for her. I think she'll come back this year and make it very far in the NCAA tournament. But I think ultimately, with the depth that South Carolina has, that they'll unequivocally be the favorite to win, and I think they'll win. And I think they'll win pretty easy throughout the tournament. I think they might have 1 or 2 tough games, but for the most part, I think South Carolina will win fairly easy. So yeah, I'm excited about the NCAA Women's Tournament and the season this year. Let me know who are your favorites for the NCAA tournament. And like and subscribe to the Urban Scope podcast. Thank you for tuning in to another one.